My full name is Hannah Ann. Last name is Ann, yes.
And where are you originally from?
Actually, I'm originally from Vietnam, Saigon, Vietnam. I was born in Saigon, but my family, my whole generations, we really originally are from the North Vietnam, but I was born in the South.
So, what is your full name?
My full name is Danny Nhật Văn An. Yes.
And where are you from?
I'm from the Vietnam.
And where in Vietnam did you grow up?
I was born in North Vietnam, but later on I moved to the south. So that means I almost from north to south. I live here.
Okay, when did you move from north to south?
I moved from north to south, about 1952. 1952, I moved from the north to the south. I moved to Saigon.
And how old were you during the time of the Vietnam War?
Let's see, I was, when the war over was 1975, and so I was about a little bit older, like 10 years old. I was 10 years old in 1975, but the war started in 1968. So I don't know, that would make me what, 75, 7 years old, right? Is that right? Yeah.
So what did your father and other family members do during the war?
Well, my dad was in the Air Force. He was one of the colonel in the Air Force. And my grandfather, he was a businessman. We have a lot of, bank and business, and he was in commerce. We were involved in a lot of things. Yeah, my family just have involved in many things, yeah.
After 1956, the Vietnam get the independence from France, right? Then after that, I moved from France to Vietnam. Then later on, I joined the Air Force, right? So I became the VNAF, that's been a Vietnamese Air Force officer in the South Vietnam.
If you had not moved from the north to the south,
Yeah.
you would have been fighting for the south, correct? For the north?
We never know, because sometimes, when you stay in the north, you go to south, sometimes you get stuck, right? So sometimes you have to fight for either one. Because sometimes you can make a decision by yourself, right? Sometimes you have to join this party or another party. And you guys know during the Cold War, right? After the Second War, there is a little bit Cold War, that's been fighting a little bit about the ideology between the communism and nationalism, communist, socialist, or freedom country, right? So when you get stuck, like in the East Europe, you have to fight for East Europe, right? You have no choice, right? You have no choice, right? Right? But if if I have a choice, right? I have to join the side who the support of the people to freedom, right? So each one have more freedom, I will be on this side.
Well, of course, we support the South because we believe, I believe is in, in freedom and capitalism. And, I've always believed that with the communists, the theory is excellent, but in reality, it would never work because in order to grow economy, it has to be a combination, and I think capitalism give you people the ability to really excel, and you really can make your dream come true. And I think that's one of the reasons why that United States economy has been so successful. I mean, even we're a very young country, so this is a perfect example.
Okay.
If you're fighting for freedom, how did you feel your freedom was being restricted prior to the war?
Well, basically, because whatever you do is very controlled. anything you do, they control. And beside that, as a woman too, you don't have that freedom. I mean, it's a combination. Like, I mean, of course, back then, the third world country, women, liberal, like we don't have the ability to grow as much. And then even as with as a capitalist, economy as well. But even, in communism, even worse, because everything you do is so controlled, and so people just kind of rely. And in theory, they say, oh, you share wealth among all, but that's not true. If the party, I hate to say this, but the people that control the party, they are the one that there's still a lot of there's more corruption than anything. It's more corruption because then now they just do more hidden than you don't even know about it. Like you go against them, it's gonna keep you silent, right? At least capitalism, at least there's more of a voice for you. And then of course, even in Vietnam, it's not. Even on the South, we don't have much of, even the voice are here like United States, right? But at least there is we can have a little voice. But in communism, there's no such thing. If you go against the party, you disappear, right?
Okay. Where were you living? You said you were living in Saigon during the war. Was your whole family living in Saigon?
Yeah. I mean, we have a very large family. My mother is, she's a 17th child. So on her side alone was a lot, and my dad is the only child, but there's a lot of relatives. So, my immediate family, yes, we live in Saigon, Vietnam, but kind of throughout part of the whole country, we have relatives everywhere, and part of my mom's family got stuck in the north too. So some of her relatives her brother and sister got stuck in Vietnam on the north side, in the communist side, because they weren't able to escape to the south. Yeah.
When they got stuck in the north, were you able to see them again?
Oh no, there's no such thing with the war. You can't go over. I mean, actually, I didn't get to see them until the war was over, and it's until very recently, like in the late 90s, when we come back, that we're able to see them. Yeah.
Okay, what would you say it was like being a young child in the war? Because I mean, I'm sure it was hard to understand what was going on fully.
Well, I think it's very different from everyone. I mean, for myself and my sister, I think we fall in the class of very, like in the third world country, there's different class, and I think we're on the very top class. Like we're very well off, so we live a very, I hate to say this, but very shelter life, and so therefore, everywhere, like we're very protected from the whole war itself. So. We do not experience poverty. We do know that, like you see, people fighting, dying everywhere, but like, you see bombing, like all that, but we still are protected because everywhere we go, we're very protected.
Did you have some friends that were less privileged that had a harder time?
Yes, but, it is a very, the society is kind of very separated. So the wealthy people just know the wealth. It was very different. My family, like my friends, we go to really one of the top school, best, so it was very different. But yes, as you travel around the country, you get experience that. You do get to see a lot of that. Yeah.
You were saying you experiencing like a lot of the bombings and fighting, and a lot of the fighting. What was that like?
Well, we experienced that toward the end because then that's when you see it, because the fall of Saigon will happen so fast. I mean, what I see is only when you travel around the countryside, but because, like I said, I was so protected and sheltered that we don't get to see much. You see, I mean, it's much I see on TV and you read about it. When you travel countryside, you see people being maimed and everything. You see all of that, but toward the end. It happened so quickly, people, it was really, of course, for me, it was kind of scary, but at the same time, my personal feeling, I thought was kind of exciting because living such a privileged life, you don't really get to see much, and suddenly now it's coming to Saigon, like the capital. So you see this, I thought it was kind of exciting because I have ability to kind of like go without, because everyone is so busy, they don't pay attention to us. So me and my sister, we get to do whatever we want in a way, because during that chaos, we don't have to, walk a certain way, talk, we got to be very proper, and then we can just be whatever we want to be.
So this
Yeah.
feeling of excitement, I
Yeah.
understand, but were you ever really scared for your life, or did you just feel excited the entire time?
I was scared. I can see, people that, but it's a combination of feeling, and then also at the same time, the way my family left because of who we are and our relation. My dad was in the Air Force, and who my grandfather was. We were brought, out the country by the CIA. So the excitement of going to United States was really exciting. So I was looking forward to because you kind of hear so much about, America and what we can do because, as much as we live a privileged life, but as a girl, you don't get a lot of ability to do a lot of things, freedom to do a lot of things. So I said, wow, I go to United States, because even right before the war, I always wanted to go to boarding school, go to, to the East Coast, and I heard about all this great boarding school, and so I was planning to go. So it's all the excitement. Yeah, it was really scary because then toward the end, there was all this fighting, shooting, but I was so sheltered that they just moved me away and okay, get on a plane, leave because of who my family was. Yeah.
Can you explain a little more? You're saying the CIA came and took you away. How did that process work?
Actually, it was very a very simple process. At that time, my father and my grandfather was not both in the country, so in a way that was very scary. My dad was on a mission. My grandfather was also out the country, on some sort of a mission because, and unfortunately when it happened, so then one of my dad's friend or CIA, but I know he's a CIA, because in the United States government, he come in, he knocked on the door of my mom and said, look, you gotta leave, right now. My mom said, wait a minute, it's the middle of the night, I'm gonna wait for my husband to come back and, my father-in-law, because I'm not gonna go anywhere. And they said, no, it's too late. The fall of Vietnam is gonna be over very soon. And mom said, well, we hardly hear anything. It's just once in a while, bombing out, but it's still outside. But it happened before. They come close, but never made it through. So I'm not going anywhere. And they said that, well, my suggestion, you take the girls out the country because the last thing you want is to have 3 girls to get stuck, okay? And we're gonna take you out. My mom said, what, like that? He said, yeah, just, grab with it. I remember my younger sister she was still, drinking bottle of milk. So she was carrying her bottle of milk and I was saying, oh, so I understand because I speak French and, little English. I was saying, oh, where are we going? I was telling my mom, I was like, we gotta leave right now. I thought it was kind of fun because, 9, 10 years old, you have this imagination. Oh, God, this is great. We're gonna leave? Go, let's go. So I was excited to leave because we never, so then that's what for us. In the middle of the night, so take us out with nothing we carry nothing. Not even a pet, we just nothing. So that was scary.
Oh, so you carried absolutely nothing?
Nothing.
You didn't go and grab anything?
No, because, my mom, in her mind, is middle of the night, well, what do you grab to start with? And in her mind, she's thinking that, okay, so let's just go to the Philippines. Because, we do know a lot of influential people in the Philippines, like the Marcos, because of who my family was. So my mom said, well, you know what, let's go to the Philippines, leave us there. She will fly back and then meet my dad. Let's just do something like that. Let's just get out. So we left everything. So we pretty much lost everything.